If you stare into the void long enough, eventually it will stare back. As I stood on the edge of the world, that saying had never been more true. I stood on the edge of that cliff that fell away into the end of the world, and it stared back at me. I had never been more terrified. My body shook, my bowels turned to water, everything in my brain turned primal and screamed to run. But I couldn't. I couldn't force myself to go away. I needed this. I needed to feel this, to be stronger from this, so that I could never hurt anyone again, so that my inability to act would never let someone get hurt again. So I stared into the void, and it stared back. I forced myself, inch by inch, closer to that edge that fell away into that inky, black abyss. And as I did, it seemed to suck me in. It seemed to suck the air right out of my lungs. And it took everything for me to face it. It tried to suck me in. It tried to devour me. It seemed hungry for me. Now the warning systems in my mind, they were going crazy. I couldn't breathe. My perspiration soaked through my shirt, and my teeth shattered like dice in a craps game. My knees shook so violently, it seemed like I was gonna fall at any moment. And I almost took a step back, and it noticed. It seemed to laugh at me, a deep rumbling laugh, and it echoed to me in a voice that sounded like 1,000 knives being scraped across stone. Come to me, Jackson. It would be so much easier to give up and come in with me. Come and feed me. And at that point, I seemed to start falling in, and millions of voices joined a cacophony of those lost souls that had fallen into the void, that had been devoured by this entity in the pit. But as I began to fall, I remembered her, and all the sorrow and the pain and the anger and the hate in my chest flowed out, and I stared into the void. And I remembered the way the sword seemed to cut through the air itself before it connected with her. The splash of red crimson on those perfect white floors. The scream that died in my throat, the way she died in my arms. And I stared, and I stared, and I remembered every last detail. And that thing in the pit seemed to shrink away, but I didn't stop. I couldn't stop. The roles were reversed now. The void stared at me, and now I stared back. Thank you.